Sup nerds, I'm Tom, and today we're going to talk about Scythe on steroids.
Dylan! You son of a...
Circadians Chaos Order. The Circadians line is a little bit less popular than Garphil's other, the North Sea, the West Kingdom, and now they have the South Tigris coming out. I'm assuming this is also going to be a trilogy. This is the second one. The first one is Circadians First Light. And this is very different from any other of Garphil's games. They're the very Euro-y, crunchy, advancing on tracks, gaining points in tons of different ways type of thing, worker placement. This is more of a Scythe-like dudes on a map battle game. There are a lot of Euro elements, which is why I think it's closer to something like Scythe or Kemet or Cyclades. Maybe even kind of sort of Lords of Hellas, but Lords of Hellas is a little bit more just dudes on a map attacky with some Euro-y elements. This is the resource management and bookkeeping type elements are almost equal to the whole map element. So it's more Scythe than it is just straight up Risk. And this is like the Vital Lacerda level of that type of game. This is like super upper echelon complicated. I mean, it is... I don't want to say it's the most complicated game of this variety because I haven't played all of those varieties, but it's certainly more complicated than Scythe, more complicated than Kemet, any of those. And it's definitely, you need at least one full learning game before you have it down, especially because the core rules you'll get pretty good, but the biggest difference is that it's very asymmetrical. So it's sort of like if Scythe and Root had a baby, but the baby didn't suck like Root does, it got all the good stuff from Scythe and got literally just the asymmetrical powers from Root. I don't like Root.
You're one ugly motherfucker.
Each different faction has its own way to win. It's probably not as asymmetric as Root in that this character is like a programming type character or whatever. You're still doing the same thing, performing the same actions, but what you need to win is different, and it's all actually tracked on the board, so you can see how close somebody is to winning. Like one character just needs to advance on these tracks up here, which is something that everybody does, but this character, it is a win condition. Another character just wants to kill other units in battle. Each unit you kill is an advancement on this track. Another character wants to just straight up win battles. Another character wants to win battles with leaders in them. So that's why the tracks are of different length and they're all very asymmetrical. You get like a two-sided sheet for your character to know all about how they work and what their strategies are and everything. And there is a secondary way to win. Advancing to the end of your track and doing your own special thing is how you win, but there is a broad way to win, which is just controlling all 6 of these artifacts. And actually every round, one of these artifacts is going to disappear. They're all numbered, so whatever the very first round, the first one is going to disappear. So the only real way to own all of them, it's really hard. You do want to own the one of the round, though. Like on round 1, you want to have control of the first one because it will give you special abilities and stuff, usually advancing on your own track towards your own win conditions. But the core of how the game is played is an action selection thing, and there are these 5 actions here. The very first one is advancing on the track. Each of these 5 actions is a track, so the further you are advanced on that track, the better the action is for you. So the first one is to advance on that track, build buildings. You can build buildings out there that'll give you special abilities, advancements in battle and things. There's producing resources, recruiting units, moving units, right? So pretty basic, very Scythe-esque actions of the 4X type, moving dudes on a map type of thing. But how you select the action is we're going to go top to bottom, and we're each going to trigger that action if we want to, but prior to that, the actions are priced out. So if I decide, okay, I'm going to choose the gaining units action, right? That action is going to cost 5 money. But because I'm the one who chose it, it actually costs me nothing. And that 5 money, 3 of it goes to me. So you can choose an action that you want to be free to you, but also want to cost a lot for other people, so either disincentivizes them to do it, or they give you money and you get that money. But also, it's not like you just pick a random number. You can just say, this one costs 500. You have a little hand of tiles that you're going to choose, so you can tell, you already used this tile, so I know you can't charge this action to cost this much type of thing. A lot of depth and strategy in there. And when you battle, which you're probably going to battle a lot of these factions have to do with battling, you use cards and these wheels, very similar to Scythe. And it includes straight up strength, kills, and defense. And you can choose on the wheel what you want, and you add a card to it, and it augments, and there's an ability on the card. Like, again, I'm not going to get into total detail on all this stuff, but just in broad generalities, that's a huge portion of the game. You have an understanding of what the game kind of sort of is, and then, read the rules from there, because I don't really think I'm going to go any deeper into that. Okay, except you have leaders. Everybody has leaders that move along the board, that have special abilities, and you can actually upgrade the leaders. That's a big thing. And you have some special ability cards that you can also upgrade. And of course, putting buildings out from your player board onto the main board is another form of upgrading. So, a lot of Euro-y upgrading, gaining resources, and bookkeeping stuff with a huge fighting aspect in the middle. Again, a lot of games you've seen like this, but this is just the most intense one I've ever seen. Now, this game isn't perfect. It's really great, but it isn't perfect, so I do have some complaints, so get ready for some motherfucking nitpicks! The leader standees, which it would be cool if they had leader minis. Maybe that can come out as a separate expansion. But the leader standees, putting them in, they're really thick cardboard, which is great, but putting them into their little stands, they all got kind of messed up at the bottom, like a little bit. And then all of the factions have these faction tuck boxes, which again are really cool, and I'm glad they're included, but they were kind of a bitch to put together. And they took forever. I mean, there's 6 of them, and you have to build the top and the bottom. You have to fold them all. It just took a while. But I'm complaining about a really cool component. I wish they came already folded. Well, okay, come on. So it should be pretty obvious that I overall really enjoy this game. I think it's great, but of course it's not going to be for everybody because it is much more intense. It takes a long time to play. I don't think I would play it with more than... I think 4 is okay, but 3 might be the sweet spot. Actually, no, maybe 4 is probably better because it is easy for 2 people to duke it out. And that is one thing, is that the different characters or the factions... I'm assuming they're balanced, but in some matchups it doesn't seem like they're super balanced, because it seems like there's 3 that are all about attacking and 3 that are other than attacking. So if you get 1 attacky and 2 not attacky, or vice versa, like 2 attacky and 1 non-attacky, it can be a little bit funky. It's a huge table hog. It's a bear to learn the rules and to go through everything. Your first game is always going to be a learning game. So, that can certainly be a deterrent for some people. But I totally think it's worth it. It's definitely not going to make it to the table as often as like a Scythe would. But for people who love Scythe, I'm going to be like, hey, listen, you like Scythe, you got to check this out.
Come on. Do it.
So I'm going to put a purchase link to this game and to Circadians First Light in the description box down below. I really hope they come up with a 3rd one in this series. Also down there is going to be a link for Game Topper. It's what I'm filming on here. They're hella dope. They're the sponsor for Neverboard Gaming. They're awesome. Also down there is going to be a button that says subscribe. So if you hit that, then you'll subscribe to our channel and then you'll never be bored.